now that you've had a chance to look at it, what do you think of the way you guys were able to generate shots the way you wanted in that first game?
The ball was moving. That's our brand of basketball. Just keep it home. I think Tyrese did a good job of kind of establishing that early. And, we took shots that we wanted to take, not shots we were forced to take.
On the flip side, now that you guys have gone through film, what do you feel like you guys could have done better that you need to focus on in the second game?
On the offensive side?
Either side.
Speaking on the offensive side, I think that, one, just generating shots, whether at the beginning of the shot clock, at the end of the shot clock is going to be big for us, not playing in the middle. Just continue to keep the ball moving, set better screens. I think with a team that switches, you can't think as much screens. There's a lot more slipping, a lot more just confusion within offense. Just not standing still is a big thing. Defensively, I know we got hurt in the boards a bit. I think it had 21 second chance points, and you negate some of that, then the league grows for us. So on that side, we know they missed a lot of shots. They're a team that's high-powered offense, and they're going to make some shots. So we can't just hope and pray that they miss shots. We got to make them miss shots.
So what was the challenge like dealing with Mobley and Allen, especially how have you seen Mobley grow, kind of hit another level in terms of what you're dealing with him?
They're definitely two different players. I think that they stagger them pretty well. They don't play maybe 12 to 15 minutes together, but when they stagger, they just have a chance to do a little more. Mobley's isolating a lot more. He's shooting the ball better than he has in the past, and he's a lot more aggressive. So just picking and choosing the battles there. Jared Allen's going to do all the dirty work. He's going to be on the floor. He's going to play passing lanes. He's switching a lot more. He's obviously going to be on the boards, catching lobs and stuff. So both of them present their own challenges in their own ways. It's just a matter of just slowing the front court down.
Myles, how big is it? You've been a part of a bunch of playoff series, but to get a road victory anytime it comes like that.
Yeah, anytime you're in a playoff series, if you can still win on the road, being the road team, it's huge because you bring a win back into Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and you take a chance from there. So you can't overlook game two either. We still have high hopes, and we're preparing to go out there and just get another win.
On the tracking data says that was one of the fewest passes in the game the Cavs have thrown all season. What do you think you guys did well defensively to keep them out of the way they want to play?
We forced and isolate quite a bit. I think that we did a decent job of when we did switch, switching up as opposed to letting them shoot, shots they want to shoot. They didn't get too much transition. We forced some tough shots. I think that's really what it was at the end of the day. We forced them to kind of play uncharacteristic, but we can't, again, just hope and pray that they do that. We know they're going to make their adjustments next game. We're going to have to come out and just, weather the storm, weather the environment, and do what we need to do.
In what way do you feel like their points in the paint number being so high was a result of the way that you just described that you guys weren't defending?
Yeah, they got downhill quite a bit, and the offensive rebounds, second chance points, hurt a little bit there too. Building that number, but again, overall, I think we're going to see a different team tomorrow.
I think Tyrese had three block shots. I think he had maybe three in the other game against Milwaukee. How important has it been to have contributions from him on that? And that's obviously by his own admission, not necessarily his strength, but you've seen him make a lot of plays as far as steals, blocks are concerned, roaming around a little bit and getting his hand on the ball. Just what value does that add on top of what you guys are already getting?
Tyrese be lying to you, man. I've seen him. I've seen him lock in, bro. Countless numbers of times. He has all the intangibles. He's long. He's defensively. He has a smarts. He plays passing lanes well. He's not a bad defensive player. When he applies himself, I think that he's someone that can really help us down there. And I was proud of his growth. Honestly, I've been proud of his growth, throughout the season. I think he's took it upon himself to, actually work on that side of the ball because, they were hunting him last night. They hunted him the last 3-4 minutes of the game, and he made a big stand. So, he needs to continue to keep growing in that area, and I think he's had tremendous growth in that area. So he's doing a good job.
What value does that add when you've already got Aaron and Andrew that you can trust there, and certainly you do what you do around the rim. Basically, when you have another guy that they can't hunt, basically, when he step ups in that scenario, what does that add to a defense that can kind of complete it?
Yeah, when you got 5 guys that are locked in, on the same page, we're a tough team to beat, especially on that side of the ball. But at the same time, it just takes everybody being engaged. I think that we have the defensive identity, defensive makeup to cause havoc down the stretch. But again, everybody has to buy in. And again, I think Tyrese has done a good job of doing that, down the later stretch of the season.
You sort of touched on Tyrese's growth, but defensively, how is he different though compared to the last postseason run?
Well, it's not his first playoff anymore.
Yep.
I think that's huge. Experience is everything. I think at this time of the year, just knowing what to expect, knowing what situations you'll be in. I think it's helped that he's seen damn near every defensive coverage he can, throughout this season and most of the last postseason. I think his body's in better shape. I really think that he's he's not as last year. I think he was a little injury riddled and regenerated, whatever you call it, and he had to fight through some stuff. But I think he's in a good place now, and I think mentally, man, I think he's locked in. He's just locked into that scene. I think he's someone who thrives in controversy. You know what I mean? And I think he loves playing those like tough environments, where people are talking noise to him and just to get him going. And yeah, I think he's in a good space.
So I'm going to ask you about that poster. How cool is that to see the support that those kids did over there?
Yeah, it was dope, man. It's Jenny Bushik, our coach. It was her daughter and her class and whatnot put it together, and just knowing that we had the support of everyone back home, and even little stuff like having a lot of the PS&E employees come out yesterday up in the section like 214, 114, whatever it was. I mean, just I think that not a lot of people are rooting for us, but the ones that are, it's very special. Very special to the moment, very special to the city, and just special to what we're trying to do.
You mentioned experience. How much are you noticing that as a collective? I guess even Donovan was even saying that's an experienced team there now, and it's really one playoff run, but still you've been in a lot of scenarios now. How much can you just tell the difference that with every step you take in this, that there is a sense that you guys have been there before, and what value do you see in that?
Yeah, well, it's not even just individual experience. Like, it's experience with the same group, and the chemistry that we've been working on and building over the past 3-4 years. This is where it starts to show. It's being in situations like we've been in, facing adversity. I think that's a big thing in the playoffs that's underrated, is that it'd be nice to, sweep every team, every series, but you have to go through some type of adversity, what I mean? And seeing that we're battle tested, seeing that we've been tried, having the run that we had last year, having to carry right over into now, all that stuff is present, and I think it's going to be very beneficial for us, going forward.
Of that first game, what do you hope to do better in the next game and going forward in the series?
Well, rebounding was a big problem. Their offensive rebounds got them 21 points. That's a lot. Transition was another big problem. Some of it had to do with our turnovers. We got to do better with ball security. But they scored a lot of points early in the clock, and we're going to have to get back and find them.
You guys obviously hadn't turned the ball over very much all year. What were some things that kind of stood out to you as just what led to having a higher turnover than you usually do?
Some of it was certainly their pressure. It's a wild environment, that can lead to some miscues. And you're not going to have a 7 or 8 turnover game every game in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. And when you have turnovers, you got to mitigate it other ways. We had a good shot making night, and we did some other things well, but we're gonna have to clean a lot of things up for game 2.
Rick, when you start these games shooting as well as you guys did, how much does that just change the dynamic of how these games are played?
It doesn't. You play the game to score and you want to make shots, but it can't be a result-driven conversation. It's process. So we're looking to play our tempo. We're looking to create problems for the defense and get the shots that we want. Once we get those opportunities, we step into them and we trust it. And at the end of the game, the work that we've put in for the entire year and years leading up to this determines whether the ball goes in or not. On a more consistent basis, but. We've just got to keep concentrating on trying to make it hard for them, both offensively and defensively, and working at getting the shots that we want.
You said at the beginning of the playoffs that it was going to take all 11 guys, basically, that you were using in the rotation. Obviously, in a lot of cases, teams tend to shrink rotations when it comes into this, but certainly the way you guys play, the tempo, seems to lead to that. I mean, just what's it been like to go with probably a longer, rotation that you usually had, and what do you think the value has been of just having, that many fresh bodies running in and out there, considering the style you guys play?
Well, I mean, both teams have been deep all year. Cleveland's played 10 or 11 a lot of, the majority of the time. We've played, 10 on most nights, and so it gives us latitude to be able to make adjustments based on personnel, based on matchups, those kinds of things. You know, last night was good because we got everybody into the first game, which is good. You know, it's good to get your feet wet that way, and you know, they did the same. You know, minus Garland, and so you know, we're going to have to be well prepared for his comeback whenever that is. Presumably, a good chance it'll be tomorrow, and that adds another dynamic attacker. It changes the geometry of the game, and it makes it a lot more difficult.
What do you like about just the way this bench basically gives you options in terms of having a lot of guys that can play and defend multiple positions that you can move into different scenarios? A guy like Jarris who can play multiple spots, a guy like Ben, you know, Obi as well. I mean, just to what degree is this kind of a good playoff bench because of the, you know, kind of flexibility it gives you?
We need everybody. Simple as that.
Tracking number said that was one of the fewest passes the Cavs have thrown in a game all year. Was that something intentional about the way you guys played that you wanted to take away from them? Was that just how the game went? What did you see with that?
I don't know. You know, we're just, you know, we're trying to make it difficult. And, you know, look, both teams want to move the ball more in game 2. So that's the way I see it.
You've seen Tyrese play really good stretches of basketball over his career in Indy. This stretch that he's on right now, is there something different about what he's doing right now?
Well, he's elevated his game on both sides of the ball, and it's absolutely needed. You know, it's he's picking up full court. He's defending, you know, one-on-one in switch situations. And offensively, you know, he's the guy with the ball. And so, you know, to be successful in a series like this, your best players, you know, have to play at a high level. And then from there, the others, you know, hopefully will follow. And but, you know, he's done a lot of good things in recent games. Game 1 was another of those games, and we got to forget about game 1 now and move on to game 2. And you know, look, the obvious expectation is that it's going to be more physical, it's going to be more pressure, it's going to be a louder building, and you know, we've got to be prepared for all those forces coming at us.
Rick, I asked Myles about this, but the poster over there from Jenny's kids' class. How cool is that to see?
It's great. Yeah, no, it's great. And after our meeting, the players lined up and got a picture that they're going to send back to the school. So it's pretty cool.